We good? We rolling? So fun. Don't even know where to
They
start.
see
Thanks
me
for having me.
riding.
Don't even know where to
rolling.
start. Yeah, thanks for being here. Welcome to Shit My Dad Taught Me,
Love
a
it.
podcast concept that is very new, very exciting. We have a few people here, so I want to do my job, make sure I get the formal stuff out of the way, which is to introduce everybody properly. So first, I am going to point to my left, who is my co-host and a good buddy of mine, Jamie Kozub.
Thanks, brother. Super excited about this.
Say hi to the people, Jamie. Tell them about yourself.
Hello, peoples. I'm Jamie Kozub. I'm one of Chris's buddies. We've got a couple of businesses together. We've got a podcast together now. And we run the Burlington Dads together. And we're just excited to have this opportunity to introduce the world to some great people.
Love that. And then we have our first guest, which the honor goes to Rachel Morgan. Rachel, say hi to the people.
Oh, hello. The honor is mine.
Tell us about yourself, Rachel.
Yes. Okay. I'm Rachel Morgan and I live in Burlington. I am a real estate agent with Remax Escarpment and have been for 14 years. I'm a mom of 3 adorable children, dog mom also, and I have a husband named Tyler Morgan.
Yeah, you do. You know what I did before we started today is I went on ChatGPT because I'm kind of slightly obsessed with all this new AI.
The best.
And I typed it in and I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to be sitting down with Rachel Morgan this morning. Can
Did
you
it
tell
say
me
dog mom?
about Rachel Morgan?
Tell me.
It absolutely pegged that you had a dog. It said.
Did it find me?
Yeah, 100%. It
Oh my
said.
God.
Rachel Morgan, local realtor and OnlyFans model. She
With my feet only, okay? My feet
And
only.
Everybody starts to Google. So it says Rachel focuses on residential brokerage, including buyer representation, new construction, luxury homes, condominiums, rentals, and investments.
I took that right off the Remax website.
Let's
That is
go.
for sure.
Rachel is a seasoned real estate professional with over 14 years of experience, currently serving as a sales representative at Remax Escarpment Realty Inc. in Burlington.
Love it.
And then it goes on to say, this is again ChatGPT. Rachel is married. She has 3 children. She enjoys skiing with her family, highlighting her activity or her active lifestyle and strong family bonds.
Wow.
It's pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I read that and I'm like, well, the skiing thing, I mean, maybe when Rachel was younger, she partied a little, but like, so
It didn't pick up the jail time.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I really just
Zero about
found
the
the good
criminal
things about
record.
me. I
Yeah.
love it. I
So,
love it. There was
sure.
no juice.
shout out. You know, the other thing it said, Rachel is passionate about auto racing.
100%.
Tell me about that.
Actually, so that is purely my dad, if we're going to go on that topic. So my dad loved NASCAR and like anything with an engine that went fast. And we got our racing licenses together. I think I was 18. Yeah, was I 18? No.
That's awesome.
Maybe a little older than that. Yeah. And we went to the Shannonville racetrack and we rented 2 Volkswagen Golfs because the car had to be standard and we didn't have 2, a red one and a white one. And it was like a weekend thing and we got to like race around the track and do a bunch of stuff. And at the end we had to write a little exam and we got our racing licenses.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And then from there I did a little bit of like more hobby related and recreational, but I would race go-karts on like the Hamilton Mountain. Yeah. Should have taken it to the next level.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best. And then cars, you still, every time I see you, you got something awesome.
I
What's
love-
in the driveway these days?
I do love a good car. And again, that's totally my dad as well. He loved, and it's not mine. It's still his and well, is now my mom's, but it's called an SSR. It's a Chevrolet SSR. So it looks like a mini pickup truck, but like has like the old school like vibe to it, like all the roundness to it. And it has a Corvette motor. So it's very fast and fun. And you've seen me driving around.
Sure have.
People will literally stop me and be like, what is this? What are you driving?
Fact. And then it's a super unique color too, right?
It's
like what's the color
it's
called?
like,
you know?
no, it's like sparkly is not going to be the right word, but it has like a iridescent look, but it's like a blue, like a nice, like royal blue.
We'll see if Miles has the tech to pull that up in post. Maybe we'll show a picture of it.
Yeah.
Do we have that technology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might have.
Who's your
technology.
guys' NASCAR driver? Like, who's your guy?
Oh, Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Number 3.
Yeah.
Which is cool because now my son Everett plays rep baseball and he's number 3.
That's sick.
I know. Bryce Harper related, not NASCAR related. But then my mom was the one. She was like, Dale Earnhardt was number 3. I was like, he was. Oh, comes right full circle.
Meant
That's
to be.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are super into the baseball thing now, right?
We really are.
The Morgan family activity of choice.
Yes.
You
yeah.
guys traveling? Like, what level of ball you playing?
So rep, he's 8, so he's gonna go into the 9U next year. So it's just like Peterborough and Vaughan, Brampton, like it's all within Southern Ontario right now. But yeah, I think when they get like 14, 15 is when you can start to go to the States and get a little more legit about it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
cool.
they love it.
I know before we started, I asked Jamie if Jamie had met your husband Ty, who I've met a bunch of times. So Ty, do we swear on the podcast? We swear.
Oh, I
on
was
the
gonna
podcast.
ask you that. Yeah.
Ty's a fucking stud. Okay, Ty is one of those dudes where you look at him and you're like, that guy's got a handshake, you know. And he's one of those dudes too that like has literally been an Olympic athlete. Is that fair to say?
No.
Okay, what he would say.
I feel like we should chat GPT who Ty is.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Let's do that.
Is it going to say he's a
I
fucking
mean,
stud?
It actually does. I did it right before. No.
Almost like he went to the pre-Olympic trials for curling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just so you know, when the story happens at the bar,
He's an Olympic
He's an
athlete.
Olympic athlete.
Yeah, and he has the tattoos of the rings,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, obviously, as
Yeah.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did he play baseball? And
He did. Yeah, he
Yeah,
played.
'cause
So
he
it's
was
the
a-
Burlington Bulls is the division, and he played for the Burlington Bulls.
There you
So
go.
it's really cute. And his dad coached him, and now he coaches Everett.
Oh, so he's
Yeah.
coaching too.
Big baseball
That's super
family.
fun. Yeah, I got that memory of my dad too, and it was Burlington Bulls too. Funny enough. I bet
Was
we
it
could
really?
Even, yeah, we could even pull a picture of
Were
that
you
too.
a bull?
I was.
You
yeah.
were a bull.
Yeah, never to be fair at the select level, never the rep level.
Okay.
Didn't get there, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. Again, if I'm telling the story at the bar, I was
You
awesome.
AAA and
like the
went
best.
to the
He
States.
played
Yeah.
for the Bulls. Like, it
Exactly,
doesn't
for
matter
the
what
Bulls.
level.
Yeah, nobody's gonna get that far. And how far into the Bulls did you get?
So deep. Take that, ChatGPT.
So deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna chat GPT you that later.
Yeah. So we're not doing that.
Yeah.
No. Hard pass.
Different
So-
OnlyFans account.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess a couple things I want to do. So like this is brand new to us, and the podcast, we don't know who we want to be yet, and so I should probably say to anybody listening that the idea of this was kind of put together from a bunch of guys, you know, guys like your husband, guys like Jamie and I, that just thought to ourselves, you know, we're watching these podcasts take off in popularity, and we're watching how easy it is to put ideas out there, and you can often consume those ideas or learn from those ideas for free. So that's what we're doing with this. So format wise, we're not too sure yet. We know that, you know, the working title, Shit My Dad Taught Me, is pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for things that come from, you know, our dads in the group, but it's also everybody's dad, and it's everybody who has that role as a dad. So my first question to you, specific about a dad, is when it comes to Ty, what's your favorite thing that he does as a dad?
He's the best. Like he's the best dad. Like he plays with the kids. He's there for him. He's a stay-at-home dad. So that is his role in our family, and that's his full-time job, and he crushes it, like better than I could have.
Well, he's an ex-curler, so his body's probably
He's
all broken down. And
Really,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. Like he's really fit for it, you know. But he's fun, and they love him, and he just, you know, he's not. He doesn't take that role in a negative way either. Like he just, you know, he loves it. He
That's
loves it, and it doesn't shame him that he's a stay-at-home dad. Like some dads would be not proud of that, whereas I think he is really proud of that, because he can be there for the kids now and be at all the games and be at all the, you know, the after school stuff, and whereas before he couldn't do that. So
That's super cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's really cool
Love that
watching
about
him be a dad.
Yeah,
Like when we first got married, I always said to people, like, I'm excited to be married and be obviously with Tyler, but I'm the most excited to watch him be a dad, because I knew he would just like nail it.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, outsider looking in. I've just
Yeah.
seen that, and you know, right? You know when you're around another dad that loves being a dad, and it's such a vibe, right?
Yeah.
And what a great thing. Like if we're talking about all the things that you could possibly do with your energy, like just talking from my standpoint, that's my favorite thing.
Yes.
Like I just love being a dad, right? And when you watch these kids come up, because you've got by age, it's boy, girl, boy.
No. So Briar girl is
Girl.
12,
Yeah.
Everett 8, and then Ridley is 6.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even that, I mean, that's got its challenges, right? Like my daughter
yeah.
is 9, but
Yeah.
going on 13, and
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like the girl dad vibe is a completely different vibe, right?
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
go from that to little dude energy and sports energy, and
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and she's the biggest daddy's girl, and he's just, like she's probably the biggest sports fan of all three of them right now. Like she's into like the football, the basketball, the baseball, the hockey, obviously, right? So it's just, and she's learned that all from him.
He's loving it.
Yeah, he's loving it. But on that note too, he's also got a really like sensitive side, which I feel like you can probably relate to as well. But he does have this sensitivity to him, which I think is also just makes him vulnerable, and the kids feed off that, right? Like they can sense that energy, and they know that dad can cry and it's okay to cry, right? Like watching Rudy, the football movie.
great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
Notebook.
The Notebook, every time. Yeah.
Every time. What's some of the things that you guys like? So when you're trying to figure out how to plan, because I've watched you guys go on some pretty cool vacations, some pretty cool adventures. Like where are you guys at? How do you pick the things you want to do with your kids?
I mean, that's definitely all me, for
Okay.
sure. If Ty, he's the perfect example of a kid that grew up in Burlington that never wants to leave Burlington. Like he's that guy. Like I feel like there's two types of people that grew up in Burlington. They grew up in Burlington, they can't wait to leave, and they don't ever really want to come back. And then there's the ones that grew up in Burlington that just want to stay in Burlington. But yeah, I would say I'm the one that kind of pushes us to do the traveling, to do the skiing. Like I grew up skiing. That was a big part of my family. So I was the influence on that for sure. But I don't want to take too much credit. We're talking about dads, obviously. So
Well, I think it's,
but
and
he would
actually-
admit that. He would admit that.
Yeah. I think it's great that we don't know who we want to be yet, though. When I was thinking about having you on, because obviously I've got some other stuff I want to talk about, but
I know.
a
with female too. I'm very flattered.
Yeah, with
Given the
Ty,
subject.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're all listen. I'm girl dad through and through.
You're
And
girl
we
dad.
also too. Sometimes it's better to hear it from different perspectives, right? Like I
100%.
thought about even having Ty on, which maybe we'll do in the future. But with you being here, I love hearing it from that side, right? Because I think most of our listeners are going to be dads, and sometimes you don't hear your wife talk about you, right?
Yeah.
In a third party perspective. Like sometimes that doesn't happen
when he's not
So-
in the room, right?
when he's not in the room, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure our wives talk about us when we're not.
Yeah, we just don't get to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Always positive.
Yeah.
Always positive. Good things.
Yeah, so fun. So with you now, switching gears back to you on the professional side. So you run a great business. I mean, your partner Christina, you guys are incredibly successful in town. What's the things that you would want to instill in your kids? Like, how do you define that success? And when you're talking about the roles of daddy does this and you do that, and like, how do you position success to your kids? What do you tell them?
Yeah, and honestly, this stems from my dad. But it's do what you love, right? So we're that non-traditional mindset is really where my dad kind of instilled it in us, and that's what he did. He did what he loved, and he was very successful because of that. And I think if you just follow your heart in that way, like, I wanted to be an actress, right? So I went to school for theater arts, and that didn't necessarily happen. And that's okay, but I still followed my dream in a different way and became an entrepreneur, and, is successful in that way too. But had I not had his support in that from the get-go and knowing that that was an option, I probably would have tried to get that 9-to-5 corporate job thinking that that was the only way to be successful.
Mm.
And that's not the case. So
I don't think I know much about your dad's
Mm.
professional career. What
Yeah.
did he do for work?
So he started like his business from the ground up, and it was in excavation. So it was called William Petrie and Sons Excavating. And it started as just that, with like him and one machine and one truck. And then by the end, he had like 30 employees and multiple machinery. And yeah. And then it branched out into all these other like smaller businesses, but still related to the main one, which was excavation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was one of those arms real estate? Is that how you started to?
No. But he did do a lot of like big builds and or digs for like a lot of the big builders and developers. My real estate career actually came from my mom. I was like, I think 22 or something, and I graduated theater art school. I'm like, so how do I be a famous actress? How do I do that? And then, you know, I kind of did all the little part-time jobs, and I worked for my dad for many years. And I said, I think I might have to go back to school, like to really find out what that is. And she was the one that said, well, why don't you go back to school and look into being a real estate agent? And when I looked at the course, I was never like a big scholar. Like I didn't love school. School was not I was like, how can I go to post-secondary but not do 4 years?
Or any work.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want that experience of like going to university and college for the fun of it, but I don't really like, I don't want to do the 4 years and have to like get a degree and all that stuff. So that's where I did the fan shop for 2 years and got my diploma. But yeah, I looked into real estate, and when I looked at the courses and how long it was going to take, I was like, I can be licensed in 6 months. This is fantastic. This is great. Whereas like my other thought was like, okay, police academy or like nursing or just something like that. And so I chose real estate because I mean, I was interested. I thought looking at houses and all that fun stuff was going to be exciting. But the real draw for me was, I can do it in a really short time. So yeah, that's where that started.
Do you think any real estate agent out there, it was their first choice career?
No,
I saw a funny meme the other day on Instagram that
Yeah.
like related to it. It was like, did any real estate agent want to be a real estate agent growing up?
Right out. Yeah, exactly. Was that their like dream in grade 8 when you're like doing the career day and it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's always like a doctor or a vet or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think unless their parents are real estate agents, which still is like almost like they're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't like, they're always on their phone. They're always working. They're, not never around, but yeah, it's funny. I think a lot of children of real estate agents fight it for a little bit, and then eventually they give in and they're like, okay, maybe this is the right path. Yeah.
What's so going back to Dad, is there one standout thing that he said or did that you always play back in your head?
Oh, yes. In fact, even though he's been gone for 10 years, he's still in my head every day. Like I hear him. And it's do what you love for sure. Work hard, play harder. Like he was a big kid in a way, and he was a huge advocate of obviously working hard, but just making sure that when you did that, you still did the other things that, made you want to work hard. Right. And so, yeah, those are kind of the big ones.
And when you were a kiddo, you said Ty and obviously your daughter very close. Was that the kind of relationship you had with your dad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a big daddy's girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the like tomboy side, we doing sports and stuff?
No. I mean,
Daddy's having tea parties.
Yeah, no, Daddy was not having tea parties.
Okay.
Daddy was taking a race car driving.
Daddy was taking a race car driving. Yeah. So I would always, and so when I said I worked for my dad in, and I'm trying to think, it was the summer months of university or college. And I drove the front end loader, like in the back shop and I would load up customers that would come in and say like, oh, I need a yard or two of triple mix or soil or aggregate or whatever it was. So I did that for 2 summers, drove the front end loader, which was very fun in a way, but also not very fun because it was a man's world and I was,
the center of attention.
Yeah, like a 20-year-old, like blonde, like not the right environment. Like men would come in and be like, oh, okay. And I feel like they would get more than they needed that day just because they'd be coming in and out. I was a breath of fresh air in their like very, man's world, grimy day. But
There's a key takeaway there for anybody listening.
Exactly.
For those men that are going into those stores, that's somebody's daughter. So,
Yeah.
Daddy had a
please-
shotgun under his desk.
Stop hitting on me. Yeah, exactly.
Just get your triple mix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, too fun.
Yeah.
So as things went on, so obviously I know a bit about the story, but tell us about your dad's legacy.
Yeah. So he built from the ground up. He built his first car when he was, I might get this age wrong, but 12, which is kind of cool. And then, so he grew up in Lorne Park with a dad who started his own plumbing business. So he was a really hard worker. And then he helped his dad in his business for a little bit. My dad just barely graduated high school and did not do university or college, just went right into the workforce and built his business like from there. And it really just took off. And like I said earlier, I think it's because he had such a passion for it, right? It was like there was no other choice. Like he was like, I get to drive tractors and bobcats and excavators all day and dig holes like for a living. Like, yes, please. And so it was that passion, I think, that really, just fed his success. And he had that business for 35 years, probably. And then he did pass away in 2014. And still left like behind, I mean, all the employees and all the men. And people would always say, and even when he was still alive, but even more so after, the biggest thing people say about him was he was just like the salt of the earth. So he was like the best of the best. And his funeral, unfortunately, was a very good testament of that. And I say unfortunately just because that was the time I kind of got to see everyone in one room who really loved him. Like the church was this huge church and it was overflowing with people. He was 59 when he died, so he was quite young.
Did he still have the business when he passed away?
He did, yeah. So he had the business, and he was sick for 18 months before that. So it wasn't like super sudden. It was obviously in our world, it was very fast, but there was a little bit of time there for him to kind of hand off to his right-hand man at the time. I mean, I think unfortunately there, though, it did just slowly fizzle out after he was gone. Like the man who ran it, who loved it, who drove that ship wasn't there anymore. So he naturally had a really good like business sense. He knew what the business needed. And I think people loved the business because of him and who he was. He was generous and amazing to work for and work with. And so when that died, ultimately it was about 5 years that my mom really tried to keep it alive, but eventually you just have to kind of move on, right? And shut the door, unfortunately. But yeah.
And you said there was an 18-month window there too. So you guys, obviously, he knew he wasn't well.
Yeah. So he had, he got colon cancer when he was 50. So it was his first colonoscopy. Note to every dad out there, every female, even too, get a colonoscopy. I'm 38 and I had my first one at 35. And it was recommended that I had polyps, like not to get too graphic here, but
it's important to hear.
And so if I'd waited till I was 50, like I would more than likely probably be in the same boat my dad was in. But if he had a colonoscopy when he was 40, which back then it wasn't that common, he'd still be alive today. Because the polyp that was ultimately cancerous would have probably been cut off. So he had his first when he was 50. They found a cancerous polyp, but they were able to successfully remove it. And then he was monitored, like whatever that process is after you get cancer, right? It's like, okay, 6 months later and then a year later. And then, so at the 6-year mark, they found it had come back. And so he had to get more removed. And then, and then 2 years after that, or a year and a half after that, it actually had metastasized to his brain. So he started, so this is where like the 18-month clock started. I'll never forget, it was March. And he started to get really forgetful, but it was like, he just felt really off. He'd get headaches. And it got to the point where my mom, he said something weird and he did something funny. And she was like, we're going to the hospital. So MRI, and the MRI showed a tumor in his brain. So again, if they had done a test called a PET scan, which is actually, so when they would do follow-ups, they would only monitor the colon area to make sure that nothing had come back. But at that point, if they had done like a full body scan, which is like a PET scan, they would have seen that it had metastasized and not gotten to the point. So the brain tumor was operable. Like they were successful in getting that out. But it's crazy. Princess Margaret, which is where he had the testing done and the operation done, they said he had 18 months. Like that was their prognosis for him. And it was almost to the day, 18 months. And like when they said 18 months, we were like, you're crazy. Like he's going to be fine. Like he'll be just fine. But no, yeah. So, because then when it got to the brain, then they found there was like a little bit on the lung and then the liver. And then as soon as it starts to get into like the major organs, it's a very slippery slope from there. And then, chemo and radiation, he's going through all these treatments, which really just took such a toll on his body. And then, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the key takeaways there, and I know one of our goal too is just helping guys think about what they should be thinking about, and the reality of it is we don't do enough for our health. I'm 40 now,
Yeah,
and that's got to get on my radar
for sure. And like
because-
set your pride aside. Like you're not bigger than that, but you're also not invisible to the like. I feel like cancer is just becoming so common, and we're getting to those ages where testing is going to be crucial.
For sure.
Right. And it's such an easy thing to do. So get on it.
You're 40 and you haven't gone yet?
No.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm calling Laura,
That's
and
my takeaway
I'm
from
going
today.
to yell.
I've had like 3 already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's my takeaway.
Yep,
Promise
love
to
it.
y'all.
And not just because they're fun, because they are.
Yeah. You get to sleep, and then you, yeah, it's,
Well, I will report back. So when you get that news, Dad's going through all of that. What is there? Because I know you're probably thinking of the same guy I am, Jamie, who is he's in the middle of that right now. What are some of the
with
things
himself or his
Yeah,
dad?
with his own health.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that your dad did that enabled that legacy to live on the way it has? Like you get that 18-month diagnosis. What do you do? Like what are some of the things that he did to get affairs in order, make sure that your mom could continue to operate? Like
Yeah. You know what? Unfortunately, and I think this is a lesson, I don't think he really did. Because I think there was denial, and like among all of us, that he was going to beat it and that he was going to be fine because he'd already beat it. So it was like, okay, this is just another bump in the road, and we've been through this before. So here's the steps we need to take. Princess Margaret Hospital is wrong. You're not going to die. My mom she's always been so good at taking on nurse. Like when we were sick, she would always be that person to mend us better. And the nurse role she took on with my dad was incredible. Like it became her full-time job to make sure that he was getting all the vitamins, all the extra stuff she could do to make sure that, his body was getting the nutrients and stuff it needed to fight. And one of the things, and this is when weed was illegal, but this is great. We would make weed oil. And so she would buy by the pounds, like marijuana. And like, I love a good marijuana, but like giant Ziploc bags. And we would at home, like it was like a little at-home laboratory, and we would make weed oil, and it would be like a full day where we'd get there, and like there was a process. Like you had to like like you soak it in, I think it was like peroxide or whatever the substance was. I can't remember. And then you like mash it down and then you strain it and then you strain it again and then you cook it. And her whole theory was, and she'd done so much background research, was it can cure cancer. Which sounds a little silly, but her theory was it can kill the cancer within his body. So she would give it to him in like capsule form. And then the nice thing with the oil is like she would like rub it on like his body, especially as he got further along, there was parts where like the tumors like would get on his spine, right? So like she would like rub it on like topical on those areas that were getting really sore. Anyway, so we probably did that for 6 months, and she really truly believed that was going to be like the answer to our prayers, but it unfortunately wasn't. And whether it prolonged his time, we don't know, but it did alleviate pain. That was a nice pain management for sure.
How long did he continue to go to work for?
Yeah, so
Like, did he try and play it like, hey, this is just, things are going to be normal. I'm
honestly,
go day to day?
He worked until like he passed away November 14th, 2014, and he worked till like October. Yeah, until basically he had to like, go to the hospice. Like he was hospitalized in August due to like really low white blood cell count, which almost like made him hallucinate and stuff. And after that, he kind of didn't come out of that the same, but he would still like he was going to work. And I think in his mind, he was going to fight it. He was going to beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, back to your original question. He didn't really, as far as I know, like he didn't kind of set up the business for him to not be there. I mean, having the right-hand man kind of in place, maybe that was his way of kind of saying, okay, this is how we can carry this on. And not that we didn't feel prepared, or my mom wasn't, left scrambling. Like things were in order, but it was not like, it's not like he was like, let's go on a big trip and celebrate this because I'm dying. I don't even think
He didn't check off that bucket list.
Yeah, like I don't think he thought he was dying. And maybe he did, and he was just didn't want to tell us that, because when it got really close to the end, he was at home, and it was to the point where he wasn't really eating, and my mom really didn't want him to be by himself at any point. So we had at-home nurses come from time to time, but she really just wanted to be that at-home nurse and be that person for him. But of course, she had to go out and do things. So when she had to do that stuff, she would ask one of us to come and step in and sit by his side. And like in those moments, like we were like, of course, like you tell us when and where and we'll be there. And it was actually really nice. Like I remember there was a day where I literally just sat by his side, and I was watching like a TV show on my iPad, and he was just laying in bed, and I was sitting in the chair next to him, and he was pretty like, I want to say like unconscious at that point. But when he did wake up, he would kind of talk for a minute and then he'd go back to sleep. But yeah, those were nice moments in the end. But it's crazy. And I think anyone who's lost somebody can probably relate to the same feeling, where even in those moments, I didn't think he was dying, which looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, Rachel, like, of course he was dying. Like he was this like frail person, and he was he was like 6'3" and always very like big and muscular. And so seeing him that way, but if you ask Tyler, who was sort of that outside perspective in a way, because him and I have had that conversation, and he definitely saw it coming. And I think it's hard to just have that conversation with the people
for sure
closest to, like, you can't be like, Rach, he's dying. But yeah, so yeah, back to your original question. There was, I would say it's tough. It's tough going through that. And I think accepting the inevitable, right? And knowing that that's what's going to happen, because you don't want to give up faith and hope that it won't.
Yeah, I think about that as a dad, right? Like
Mm,
we, you know, we're protectors, right? It's what we do.
exactly.
So
Yeah. And he was proud, right? Like he could be vulnerable at times for sure, but he was the type of dad where he was going to get through it and he was going to be the hero in the end. And yeah, so I think that was probably something he probably didn't think that he was going to be the one that didn't make it through.
yeah. So going on today and looking forward and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
like obviously he was, a great man, great legacy. So your kids, how do you talk about him? How do you celebrate him?
Yeah. So Briar was 2.5 when he passed away. And she has memories of him, but I don't know that she, physically remembers him. But what's nice about, we've got photos of her and him together, and we have videos of them, like just on our phone and stuff. So that's really, really nice. But we talk about him all the time. The boys never got to meet him, excuse me, but they did. So Everett is my dad. It's crazy. I'm not a hugely religious person, but am I have a spiritual belief in a way, and I really honestly feel like my dad's soul was just like imprinted on Everett, like just some of the things he does and loves. And so even the fact that he's number 3, like I'm like, oh, of course you are, because you're my dad. And I think that's a nice way for me almost to probably keep my dad's spirit alive too, is just remind a lot of the things that Everett does reminds me of my dad. But what was your question? I
Well,
forget.
just kind of how you celebrate that legacy, right? But that sounds
Yeah.
like a great way. And have
Yeah.
you said that to him?
Oh,
Like have you
yeah.
said, I see my dad in you?
Oh
Like
yeah.
I see
Like
your
you are
grandpa?
Papa. So he
Yeah.
was Papa.
Papa. Okay.
And so yeah, just showing him them pictures. We have videos of our wedding day. So we've shown the kids like the videos of Papa, talking about Papa and how like, he was a hard worker. We're a big ski family, as Chat GPT pointed out. And that's what we did growing up. So every weekend, so my dad's parents had a chalet up in Blue Mountain. And every weekend in the winter, we would go up as a family. We would drive and we would spend the weekend with our cousins and our aunts and our grandparents. And so we've brought that legacy back to our kids now. So that was a really important thing for me. And I wanted my kids to be able to, I wanted them to be able to know how to ski. And then, so I would take Briar when she was 3 to Glen Eden once a week and get her to ski. And then whenever it was 3, I would do the same with him. And then during COVID, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't even ski for a part of that time. But we said, well, why don't we try out this like little membership at this club up there that our friends are at and try it out. And so we did, and the kids absolutely loved it. And so we went back the next year, and again, like they loved it. So we said, okay, let's make this like our family tradition, like our family thing. So every weekend we drive up on Fridays and come back on Sundays, and it's very nostalgic for me. Anyway, yeah, so so that was a huge part of my history. So when we're talking about skiing, and I mean, just a small thing, but going up the chairlift with my dad, like if it was like a really freezing day and we were super cold, he always had Rolos in his like inside jacket pocket. So he would like bring out the Rolos and he would give us each a Rolo just to keep us warm. So that's like a little tradition that we like to pass on and talk about with, about my dad.
It's the coolest.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Little
It's
things, right?
So fun to hear that you have the memories of those little things, because you try and do that. Like I try and do that with my girls.
Yes.
Like I try and have, little routines, little things that they just know me for, that I try and stay super consistent with.
Yes.
I think it imprints, right? And it gives them that sense, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It will absolutely imprint on them. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So spiritually, because you mentioned that a little while ago. So I'm a pretty spiritual guy. I've had, family, friends, loved ones pass, and it is interesting how you see in my opinion anyways, how you see that energy. You sometimes can relate to something they said or did, or you see it in, your kid or anything like that.
Mhm.
Have you had any other moments like that where you've just, something's happened and you're like, that had to have been dad?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I actually, I think I was pregnant with Everett, uh, or maybe not just pregnant, but like we were trying, and I went and saw a medium, and she pointed out, so when like the spirit world is trying to talk to us, and again, it's just one of those ways where it just gives so much comfort in those moments. But she said there's little signs, right? So when you ever see like 11:11 on the clock, or any kind of pattern or rhythm of 11:11, that's kind of that spirit world trying to push through and send us a little sign or like a little hello. And then dimes.
Mm.
So like if you see I see dimes everywhere, and I know it's
Like dime bags? Or
no,
like
yeah. Little marijuana
Mom is
bags.
still producing.
Yeah, thank you,
brings back
Dad.
memories.
Yeah, no, yeah, like the actual dime, like the coin, and it'll just be in the most random places, like where it's unexplainable, like in my walk-in closet. I'm like it was just sitting in the floor randomly, or where it just like how did that get there? Like I don't carry coins in my pockets, like so if I'm I didn't fall out of my jeans or anything like that. So just stuff like that is very present on a daily basis, I would say. And then this is going to sound really out there and spooky to people that maybe aren't spiritual or on that side, but so he passed away in my parent in his house. And the night that he passed away, and for several weeks, maybe even months after that, anytime we were in a room, and my mom's house is all pot lights, the pot lights would flicker. And so, and the night that he passed, we of course, like we were all, it was like a 10:30 at night, or maybe even later than that. We happened to all be there because it's a long story, but our house had flooded in the 2014 August flood. And so our whole basement was done and under construction. So we ended up moving into my parents' house, and it worked out because of my dad being sick. So we happened to all be there on November 14th, and he passed late at night. We couldn't all fall asleep, so we were all kind of in the main floor, in the kitchen and the living room, and the pot lights are they're going crazy. Like it was unexplained. Like an electrician would, I think, go in and be like, this doesn't make sense, because they're all connected, and it just had to be that energy passing through. And still to this day, so in my old bedroom at my parents' house, there's a set of pot lights over the window. And if I go in and I turn those on, they flicker. And like that, the rest of the house is fine now. But like I said, for months after, and it would only be in the room we were all in that they would flicker. And it's an open concept room. So if it's like this room where it's like these lights would be flickering, but those would be fine. So and I mean, it sounds probably crazy, but it was very comforting in that moment too, right? Like, and we would just be like, okay, Dad, like
I'm still here.
we hear
down.
you. Yeah. We hear you, and we feel you for sure. So yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
I don't know if you saw, but I reached for my phone. It was 11 o'clock when you were telling that story. So
Yeah.
there's another crazy one, as it's 11:01.
11:01.
First episode. That's two 11s right there.
Right? I know. I see 11:11 all the time. And you now probably will too, but yeah.
I think that's important to think like that. I think like that only because I've had similar experiences to you.
Yeah.
Like I've just had things where whether I choose to believe them or I choose that they can't be explained, you see them and you feel them, and I've had, my grandfather's the one that always shows up in my life just because he was, Papa too, go figure.
Yeah.
But he was that guy. Like he was just our family, you know, the
Rock.
guy who was the rock and put in the work and set the pace. And when that happens, I think that is energy, and I don't think it goes away. And I
No.
think, you know, the way that you are driven in your life, the way that you guys are prioritizing your family and all that, that's that energy, right? It
For
just
sure.
it flows through, and
and,
that's
and
that's
feel
what it is.
blessed because there's a ton of people that have the opposite, right? There's things that happen in their past that are triggering them the other way. So like feel blessed
Oh
that
yeah.
when those things happen, like really, really appreciate those things and honor those things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see them and feel them. And it's funny. I remember when he passed away and it being November and then it's the holidays, like super sad time. But because he was so entrepreneurial and successful and he always supported my business and he was always, you know, keeping me accountable and being like, how many clients did you have? How many deals did you do this month? And I'm like, stop asking me. It was 0. Okay. Like I'm feeling bad about it. But no, he'd always push me to do better. And so when he passed away, I said, 2015 is going to be my best year in real estate. Like I'm going to take this grief that I have and this sadness and I'm going to turn it into something powerful, and so I can feel proud and keep him proud and take his legacy and turn it into now like my own legacy. And I did that. And I feel so proud about that. And I feel like he would be proud that instead of, because to your point, like I could have taken that and done and like just put myself in a little hole and been sad
For
and
sure.
not done anything. But I did choose to do the opposite and take that grief and do something good with it as opposed to bad.
How was Ty when all this was going down?
Our lovely Ty, our sensitive
Such a
little
fucking
Ty.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of rocks, like he's such a rock in our life. And I truly don't know. Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. What I would do without him. But he does take on that weight. And then it kind of comes after, right? So it's like the dust has settled. And so it's like November and he just is like, okay, I'm going to take care of my people and make sure everybody's good. And then after a while, then he starts to feel the impact, right? And I know you and I have we've talked about, he does suffer from anxiety and so it's times like this where times get really tough and it's low moments where it's low and then it really hits him like a couple of months later. So he's had to do a lot of work in his world too to help cope with that kind of anxiety. But in those really dark moments, he is like his role and like all he wants to do is just be there, like physically, emotionally, like just blanket us with his love and yeah, and try to take it away, right? He just doesn't want anyone to feel sad. And yeah, that's what he does.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I had somebody once tell me that like guys like Ty can feel the highs and feel the lows.
Mm.
And that's what people forget. If you're in tune enough to be at the energy where I know him at, because he's social when he's told to be.
When he's
he
meant
shows
to
up
go to
so
parties,
hard
yeah.
for his kids. Like I get all that, but it's often the guys that have the ability to go that high in energy, but also feel that low energy too, right? And yeah, that's something we can all relate to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mental health just being such a known topic now, right? But 10 years ago, it was like there was almost a bit of shame around that, right? Like, oh, I'm not supposed to feel anxiety because I'm supposed to be the strong one in the family. And especially in this moment where Rachel needs me and I can't be the weak one because she's already trying to cope with what's happening over here. I've seen a huge difference in him even when I think about, like that was 10 years ago. But I think because mental health is so accepted now, like, and it's something, I know there's still a lot of work to be done there, but that we do talk about and we're normalizing it and realizing that it's so common. right? And it is a real struggle.
And as guys, that's what we do. We put it on the back burner, right? And that's a fault of our own.
Yeah.
But
But you were that was like, I almost feel like learned behavior
For sure.
for the most part, right? Where you were supposed to be the tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to know that it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
And let people know about it and talk to people about it. And there's support out there for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really, really trying to make that a cornerstone of this, call it podcast or whatever we're up to here. I mean, we, through some of the things we've seen, having a group of like-minded people is part of therapy. Having the ability to talk about it is part of therapy. And, as we continue to grow and have people on that talk about these real stories, the thing that I see time and time again is just how prevalent it is. It's just whether or not you want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And for some people, sounds like Ty is one of them, there's such a sense of duty to his wife, to his kids, that he comes last. Right. And, the name, I've heard a few people say it as the reason why they tell you to put your oxygen mask on when there's a problem on the plane is because you're no good to anybody until you're good to yourself. Right.
Oh yeah.
So it's a very conscious thing. I know both Jamie and I feel so passionately about it, and we've done a bunch of work around it, but we just have to get guys just talking. And go back to what you said about physical health too. Same thing. Get the checks, take care of yourself, because
Take care of yourself
you'll
first.
be a better dad if you do it.
Yeah, you can't be a dad if you're not there, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Here we go. Podcast.
Which can all be the opposite of some of what the shit our dad taught us.
Yep.
It was, hey, like, suck it up, man up.
You're bleeding. It's fine. You're fine.
Yeah, we're gonna have some of that on here too.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I have some fun stuff. Do you want to do some fun stuff?
Let's do it.
I just came up with some questions because
That wasn't fun. What we just did wasn't fun.
That is the real stuff.
That was
this
the real.
Is
That was
goofy stuff.
Okay.
The goofy, the fun.
Oh.
So first, and I sprung this on Rachel about 30 minutes before she came to visit us at the office, as I said, do you have a dad joke? Would you like to bring a dad joke? So my question to you, Rachel.
And my response was, oh, God.
Oh, God. So I hope you had time to phone a friend or something like that. But both Jamie and I, our Crocs are in sport mode and our socks are pulled all the way up. So go ahead and knock them off.
You're going to welcome
Tell
a
us a
dad
dad
joke?
joke.
Okay, I actually have two.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
So one is actually, I mean, it's short and you might not get it, but it's like literally my dad and what he would say. So it's funny for like 3 seconds. And then the other one is actually a joke that Tyler told that I have to repeat. I didn't think it was funny, but I feel like no, I'm like, and I'll lead into that a little bit further in a minute. Okay, so my dad. So we're talking like 20 years ago. He gets in a taxi cab. Okay, that's a visual it's very important. And the taxi cab driver says, "Oh, hello, sir. Hey, how are you? How are you doing today? How you doing?" And my dad looks at him and says, "Any better, and I'd be you." That was like my dad to the core. He really thought he was giving this guy a compliment. Like he thought he was being
you are the one doing everything right.
And like kind of funny and like just like any better I'd be you, man. And I'm like, Dad, no, that's the wrong context. You didn't nail that joke. No.
He looks unhappy to be driving
Dad,
the taxi.
Yeah.
That was the most confused taxi driver for the rest of the day.
He did. He was like, "What? Did that guy just insult me?" Like, I was trying to be
for
nice.
A cliff or a wall, or should I like be buying a lottery ticket?
Oh my gosh! And like honestly, it's one of it's like I wanted to be like, if you knew my dad, you would know he meant well. He meant well, but he just he didn't get it.
Okay, so challenge to anyone listening to honor the legacy of clearly a great man. You have to use that. And you have to tell us how it went. Use it in any circumstance you find yourself into. If so, the next person who asks you, how are you doing today? You have to say, if I was any better, I'd be you.
Like he'd say it to
And
like
let
a
us know how
homeless
it goes.
person or on the street, right?
If you
like
really
it
want to
was
throw him a
just-
curveball, if I was any worse, I'd be you.
Yeah.
You may or may not get
no.
punched in the mouth.
Yeah, that might not go over well. No, it's any better because you really leave them confused.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're really going, oh, okay. What?
And for the millennials, a taxi cab is a yellow vehicle.
It's a yellow Uber.
With a little sign on the top.
Yes, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what there's no app involved. You don't
No.
actually get to go on the app and to physically call the
Usually has
taxi.
a little checkered logo on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ty sent you with one too?
He
gonna
did
be a
not send,
banger.
he doesn't actually know I'm telling this joke. And he would be,
And it's not funny, she said.
well, so he told me this joke, just the two of us. And like at the end, I was like, oh, okay, like went. And then we were at a Christmas party over the weekend, and he's telling the joke to like 7 other guys, dad guys. And he lands that punchline and they like roared with laughter.
That is
And I was like,
the best moment.
What? Oh my, like this is, and then so when you sent that to me, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I have to tell this stupid joke. Okay. I gotta get this right,
The
okay?
stage is yours. Do I'm proud.
Okay. So there's a husband, and he comes home from the pub and he's hammered. And his wife says to him, like, you need to stop doing this. You do this every week. You come home hammered. If you do this again, I'm leaving you. Like, I'm done. I don't want to see you in this state anymore. So the next week, of course, he comes back from the pub, or he's at the pub, and he got hammered again. He hasn't come back home yet. He's at the pub and he ends up throwing up on himself. And his buddy's like, oh no. And he's like, oh man. He's like, I can't go home. He's like, if I go home like this, my wife is going to leave me. She told me she's going to leave me. He's like, okay, man, I'm going to give you $20, put it in your pocket. And then when your wife asks you or like says you got drunk, just say, no, someone threw up on me. Check my pocket. And there's $20 in there. And the guy that threw up on me gave me $20 to help me with the cleaning bill, to help me with cleaning up this puke. And he's like, okay, thanks. So he puts it in his pocket. So he gets home and his wife's furious. She's like, I can't believe you did it again. Like, I'm leaving, I'm done. He's like, no. Honestly, check my pocket. He's like, the guy that threw up on me left me $20 to clean up whatever mess this was. So she pulls out the money from his pocket, and she's like, there's $40 here. And he's like, yeah. She's like, well, what was the other 20 for? He goes, oh, well, that was from the guy that shit my pants.
Got him.
Yes.
Laughs from the men.
Oh, it's good. Shout
Yeah.
out Ty.
I
Shout out
know.
Ty. But you guys
I
stayed
never
together
thought I
after
would
that,
ever
yeah?
say that joke out loud
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
as the storyteller.
And this happened before you guys had kids?
You know, they stayed together. It's a happy ending.
Yeah, it's actually
no problem. Rachel's
true
up
story
$40.
from Tyler. Yeah, I
Rachel's
was
up
reliving a
$40.
moment there as opposed to a joke.
God, the poor dry cleaner, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, next one.
Mm.
I asked you this one about your dad, but I'm going to ask it about Ty.
Okay.
What is the best advice he's ever given your kids? What's the like thing that he says where you're like,
Oh.
that's my man. That's my baby daddy.
I mean, there's probably so many good ones, and you just put me on the spot.
Yep, that's what we do at this point.
Okay. In terms of something to say, I would say music is a really big thing in our world and our family, and like we're always playing music. And so I think he's instilled the love and joy of music in them. So that's not something he necessarily says. That'll come to me later, and I'm going to kick myself because I didn't think of it. But he will dance like no one's watching, and they will dance with him. And like, I think that's just such an awesome trait that he's instilled in them. And, you know, now it's like they come home and they're like, hey, Google, you know, play this song. But even my mom will say, like, I love that you have, like, this family has such a joy and love for music. And yeah,
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock on.
And you talk about those memories that will be ingrained forever and ever, right?
Yeah.
There it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
How much Daddy loved Taylor Swift.
DJ Ty he's real. He's so good at his job.
Okay, next fun question. We call this one Dream Car Garage. So you've obviously said what's in the driveway these days, but if you could, you get 3. Okay, so the Dream Car Garage is a daily, a winter beater, and a flex. What would you put in those 3 positions? A daily, a winter beater, and a flex.
But we're talking actual cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime, money is no issue. You can have whatever you want.
Okay. The daily would be a G-Wagon.
Ooh.
A white G-Wagon.
Okay. What kind of interior?
Leather. Black, obviously.
Have you seen some of the color options they have this?
No, I would just do black. Although I would, if beige was like a taupey beige was an option, I would.
Moulin Rouge.
They have crazy interiors.
Yeah. No, I'm not going
My
like
daughter would say G-Wagon for
red
sure.
or anything like
Okay.
that.
Okay. That's the daily. What's the winter beater? What's the flex?
The winter beater.
I actually really like your truck now. The one you've got, it's a Yukon?
The Yukon. Yeah. The AT4. I do too. Every morning I wake up to make sure it hasn't been stolen out of my driveway.
That happens.
Because that's a real thing. Okay, wait. Explain to me what do you mean by
We're
winter
gonna circle
beater?
back to Jamie telling a story about that one. We might have people listening from all over the world if things go well. So we have some Canadian winters here. We have something that you're going to need a little ground clearance. You're going to need something with ideally 4-wheel drive and some snows. So
Yeah, okay.
What's the one you would go there?
Probably Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah. Have you seen the V?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely, I test drove it. And then I was like, how much?
The
Just
2025
kidding.
is 205 for the electric Escalade.
Like, it's just,
It is crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Pipe dream for sure.
But even like the new Tahoe is like 145.
I know.
Like
They're just
it is nuts.
getting really
Yeah.
Jamie,
unreachable.
You got any SUV stories there, buddy? About
Oh, did you have yours?
So my wife's got an Escalade.
Yes.
Thankfully still has. I didn't have to say she had
Fingers,
an Escalade.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Every day.
I keep my phone on at night, so our ring went off at like 2:00 in the morning, and it's like, oh, that's weird. So like open up the app and like look at the front camera, and like there's 2 guys at my front door, like
Doing the
standing
thing.
there like this, and I'm like, oh my god. So like I hop
It's
out of bed in
happening.
my underwear, go flying out the door, like, you motherfuckers, get out of here.
Yeah.
And like you could hear it on the camera. These guys like dropped everything. They booked it.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, there was like 3 of them. One of them was like running around the Escalade like with another device, like
Yeah.
trying to get the signal to unlock it. And we keep all of our stuff in those
The lead,
faraway boxes or whatever they're called. And she keeps it like,
which apparently still doesn't work.
so
don't know.
some do and some
Yeah.
don't. So it's an easy way to test it. So like even the portable one that she keeps her key in, like if you bring it to your car and you hit the unlock button while it's in it, you'll find out if it works or not. Like if
Oh.
it blocks the RFID.
Okay.
And most of them that you buy don't work. Like they're just you buy
Yeah.
them on Amazon, they don't actually work. But that's how you test them. Like if you
If it's in there and you bring it right to the door.
yeah, then you'll
Okay.
see if it works. So the 2 guys at the front door just absolutely book it, and like I literally just missed these guys.
Oh.
And the 3rd guy is in the car, so he gets in the car, starts it, and these 2 guys like run to the car, and I'm like, I'm not gonna run to the car because like who knows if they got a gun
I
or a knife
know.
or whatever. So the second guy gets in, the 3rd guy is barely hanging onto the car, and the door's wide open, and the guy's like driving out of my Crescent, like flying down the street. He's like hanging onto the side of the door, and it's all on video. Like I've got the whole
Oh
video.
my
of
God.
it was absolutely hilarious.
So they did steal it though. Like,
No, they tried to. They couldn't because it was all blocked.
okay.
So thankfully, it took them like 4 or 5 minutes of trying between like my alarm going off and like me seeing in the app, because like usually it's like 15 seconds they're in and out.
Yes.
But then like 3 days later, another real estate agent like a block and a half away, his vehicle got stolen.
Yeah.
It has been pretty crazy, but like
Oh, I know.
now no matter what vehicle I have, I've got to block her Escalade. So like you know,
Every time it's like,
I had a Bentley like from like May to November, and like she was making me block the Escalade with the Bentley. I'm like, how does this make any sense?
You're
I'm like,
like,
it's just
yeah.
a vehicle. Like we got insurance. Like whatever.
I know.
But no, every night I had to like park the Bentley like on an angle and block in her Escalade.
Plug it right in there.
I'm
Yeah.
like, this is a bit
We
of a
know which
sacrifice,
ones.
no?
Yeah. We know which one's going to get stolen.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's real.
So prevalent,
I feel like
too.
every week I hear of someone getting their
Yeah.
car
Well,
stolen.
we have the and plug Burlington Dads as well too. I mean, we see every day. There's somebody that's got a story about,
Oh.
hey, they tried or hey, they did, and it tends to be the big SUVs right now.
I know. Speaking of the G-Wagon, that's the only reason I wouldn't get one. Is just because that is a target on your back.
Yeah.
And it has slowed down. Like it has in our area.
Do you have a
anyways.
dog?
I have 2.
You have 2 dogs.
One of them we keep kenneled up because he's a Rottweiler.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's scary
But
looking,
not like
but
the cutie one?
he's super cute.
Okay, because we have a Shepherd Rottweiler, and
yeah.
she's like the biggest suck on the planet.
I got a lab that's like 107 pounds, and he's the biggest suck.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like he just runs around those. But like they were at the front door, and he just like was standing at the window. Like,
Oh my God.
looking at
You're like,
them.
this is when you get to bark.
Yeah.
This is when you're allowed.
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so the Rottie was in the crate.
Yeah, and like the wife was like, "Well, why didn't you go let the Rottweiler out and then go open the door?" I'm like, when you're in that mindset,
Oh my God.
I was like, I
Yeah.
just want to kill somebody right now. So
Seconds.
like, I was flying down the stairs and like,
Yeah, you're just going off adrenaline and like
Yeah.
your knee jerk reaction.
yeah,
Well, we always, because you hear about these ones that where they actually break into the house to get the key.
yeah,
And I swear that like that's why we maybe haven't had that happen, because of the dog.
yeah.
Like they'll try to do it from the outside, and luckily they haven't yet. But to get inside, I've heard the dog can help, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In your case, maybe not, but
I don't think
I know,
changed
if
my
they knew
mindset.
my
I'd be
dog,
flying
they'd
down
be
that-
like,
down
no,
those
she-
stairs anyways.
no threat. Yeah.
Not the right decision, but it's still what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's do you have a flex? Want to do throw an exotic in the driveway?
Oh
or what are you
yeah,
feeling like?
just a good old Corvette.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like vintage, 60s.
No,
No?
like the new ones for sure.
Ooh, like
A-
brand new
like
ones.
a 2024. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, that's an incredible
What color?
car.
Yeah, black.
Yeah.
Yeah,
White G-Wagon, black Corvette.
yeah, and probably a white Escalade.
Yeah, we had
Like
the white SUV, black SUV talk.
we
when you
did.
got that last
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
Remember, I got the gray one, and you were like,
Yeah.
"I'm not feeling it."
Why are we
You're
in
like,
between? Can we
"What?"
just
And I
commit
was
to
like-
a stereotype, please?
I was like, I made a huge mistake, and it ended up being such a lemon too.
Yeah,
like it
did
like
it?
it died
Oh,
in the, like
no.
the middle of a parking lot, and anyway, that's why I have the one I have now. But
Yeah. Yeah, probably a white SUV mom. If somebody asked me, is Rachel Morgan a white SUV mom? I'm pretty sure I'd say yes to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because
Well,
you met
shout
me
out
when
to
I
all
had
those-
my Tahoe,
Yeah.
which was the white one
Yeah.
with the tan interior. That would be my
Yeah, that was you for sure.
it's my jam.
Beside your black Corvette, because why not?
I mean,
Range.
Like, what would Ty's vehicle be? Like, whether it's dream vehicle,
Lightning.
daily, the Lightning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's like every time it drives by, he's just drooling. He has the F-150.
Yeah.
And he just would love the Lightning.
It's a nice truck.
I know. I'm nervous to go electric though. I
Are you?
just feel Are you? What cars do you have?
Well,
Share.
specific to the Ford Lightning thing, we've got one of the business I'm a part of. They have two that they actually use as service vehicles. So there's a
Right.
black one and a white one that are 2024, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, so great.
Yeah.
Range has been predictable. We know that it goes down in the cold. Like, that's a real thing. Everybody knows that. So, like,
Yeah.
this time of year, we're being a little more cautious with the range. But, like, I've had, I think Mark says his went down just recently and he had to get a new charger. But that was the biggest problem they've had.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so great.
Yeah.
And great trucks. Like, really.
Really. Yeah. I've
yeah.
heard great things about them.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm sure we're like being a 2-car vehicle family. I feel like one of ours could be electric. Like, you just have to get used to it,
Yeah.
right? Just
Mhm.
think about it a little bit more.
If you could name the ugliest vehicle to purchase right now, what would the ugliest, most hideous vehicle you could buy be, you think, right now?
Yeah. What's the
You
what,
go-
what what's-
well, Jamie uses this piece of shit as a blocker in his driveway. It's called a Bentley. You could say Bentley if you want to say
no,
Bentley.
it's not the Bentley. It's the it's gonna drive me. It's the Elon Musk. It's
Oh, he has
it's
one of those
Cyber.
too.
Oh, the
you have the
Cyber-
Cybertruck.
He has
This is
one.
why I asked
You're
you.
the Cybertruck owner.
So
That's you.
I've got a Cyber Beast on order. Like, it was supposed to be here like 3-4 weeks ago.
I mean,
but
I'm sure I'll come around, but right now,
I literally ordered it because it's the ugliest, most hideous thing, and it pisses people off.
it does.
And in the dad's group, every time somebody sees one, they tag it and they post it, and
They're
I'm
like,
like,
someone
I
else
can't
in
wait to have it.
Burlington
Yeah.
has a
What
Cybertruck.
a perfect answer, Rachel. Thank
Yeah,
you so
like-
much for your honesty.
Talk about leading. I led you right
You
into
did.
that
You're
one.
like, she's gonna say it. I know
yeah.
she's gonna say it. And when I'm like, he's staring right at me, I'm like, okay, it's that guy's truck.
And there's so many like funny like YouTube videos and clips that like guys have put together for Instagram and TikTok, and it's like, this is what it's gonna feel like when I have my Cybertruck, and it's like guys driving by the park. And there's a married couple, and the guy like was looking at his wife, and she's suddenly getting pregnant, and like from the guy walking by, and the guy's just like, you know, rolling through.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what it's gonna be like when I have a Cybertruck.
I'm picturing it right now. Oh, I know. It's funny. People have such an opinion about it. My kids love it.
So I'll be blocking the Escalade with a Cybertruck.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody will take
Because
that.
nobody wants to take that
Nobody's
shit.
taking it. No. Can you steal electric? I don't.
I
It's
don't
like you
know.
don't hear about Teslas and stuff getting
Because
stolen.
like Tesla's the smart ones that are like, hey, like when a vehicle gets stolen and we know that it's registered stolen, we're gonna make sure it can't work anymore. So like they
They'll
have
just shut it
control
off.
of it. Where
Yeah.
every other automaker doesn't give a shit because they're like, well, when it gets stolen, then insurance is gonna buy another one. So like, let's just keep this party going.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's honestly, it's been better for the automakers when stuff gets stolen because you know people are buying more new vehicles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tesla's against
And
that.
insurers, like
Yeah.
insurance companies are. Oof, I got my premium for next year, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess I should think about a new car because it's like in the high theft category, right? And I
Yeah.
didn't realize how much that really affects your insurance payments.
And I'm not even going to try and blend in with everybody else. Like all the Cybertrucks come one color. Mine is going to be like midnight blue metallic.
Love it.
Yeah.
What's the
like,
interior?
you only get the one or two options. It's either black or like dark gray or whatever.
Oh, dark gray.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought there was like a red option, but
No. There's nothing with the Cybertrucks. It's like just stainless steel outside, and then inside is like here's your two options of like the trims. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was one, I think it was like a hockey dad, and he might be a Burlington dad, but he got one, and apparently all the hockey kids, they were like literally having a party in this Cybertruck. Like they like, because it goes into like party mode, right? Like,
Yeah. You can lower it, raise it.
I'm sure it's gonna be great, but we're gonna make fun of you for sure.
I'm just gonna be driving around my hand out the window, giving
Yeah.
everybody the finger.
Yeah. I feel like you need to absolutely get Kate's logo on it. Represent.
I've thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Anybody wants to cut me a check for $3,000 a month, I'll put whatever they want on the side.
Exactly.
Of it.
Yeah. Morgan
I'm
Wallen
already
Group.
pissing people off. I might as well
Wow.
piss more people off.
Yeah,
Now we have the platform to make that kind of statement, Jamie.
Yeah.
So you heard him right. For
Yeah.
$3,000 a month, you can put whatever you want on the side of his Cybertruck.
Whatever
So
you want.
feel free to email the show.
Yeah. I love it.
I have two more fun questions,
Okay.
and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Mm.
So I think I know the answer to this one. If you had to have one beverage, one adult beverage, one fun beverage for the rest of your life, what would that beverage be, and be as specific as possible?
A glass of Sancerre,
Oh.
which is white wine,
Mm.
but a very nice white wine.
I can honestly say I've never heard of that.
No.
You're like, I did not know what she was going to say, apparently. I mean, it was going to be wine
I knew
of
wine.
some
I was going to say wine. I didn't.
wine
yeah.
for sure. And I mean, it depends on the season and what color I like better. But in the colder months, I do like a red. But if it's for the rest of my life, I can always drink white wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sancerre is a region
Okay.
in France that makes delicious wine. But
And
A
what
little-
is it,
a
like
little on the
Chardonnay
pricier
or
side.
like-
it's honestly it's more like a Sauvignon Blanc kind
Okay.
of blend, like style. If
Yeah.
that's
so not super sweet.
no, very
Yeah.
very dry,
Yeah.
very dry, and like crisp and just delicious.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Your wine events are fantastic, by the way.
Mm.
I think we've been to two now. The one at your house.
In my house
and
so
then
many
we did
years
the one
ago.
at the art.
The art gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
was a
And
great
that
time
was,
too.
we haven't done it since, but we keep talking about it so we brought a sommelier in and we invited like 40 to 50 people to come and do like a wine tasting. And it ended up being, we didn't really know what to expect, but the sommelier like really did like a full presentation. Like she would talk about the wine
They're
and then
passionate.
oh
They are
oh
passionate.
yeah, and like meanwhile we're sitting there like, can we just drink the wine? Can we? We're here to drink wine. We don't care about the learning of it.
And nothing pisses them off more.
Oh, I know. They're
like,
like,
no, you need to
you're gonna
understand
listen.
this.
Yeah, you are gonna sit there. You're gonna listen. But no, it was so fun. And Christina, my business partner, and I, we both love wine. So
Yeah.
a wine event is a selfish event for us because we're like, this is fun. We're going to enjoy it, and we get to write it off.
Yep.
When you
Yeah.
do you do red at like room temperature, or do you chill it a little
No,
bit?
chilled for sure.
Yeah. My wife's a red wine drinker, but it's like an ice cube or
Oh,
keep
yeah.
it chilled or
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. We have like a little wine fridge at home, and I think it's like 52 is what the red is set at.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little chilled for sure, especially if it's in the summer. But yeah, room temperature or warm just feels not right.
What is your go-to?
Yeah,
What is your
it'd
numero
be tough
uno?
for me to say. So definitely
for the rest of
something
your
with-
life.
Yeah, definitely something with Canadian whiskey. It
Mm,
would be, I don't know, probably a Manhattan if I had to narrow it down.
Yeah.
But I don't mind if it's good stuff, neat rocks.
Tough
something like
tough
that.
guess what mine would be. Tough
Yeah,
guess.
you're one of the only guys I know that wouldn't choose an adult beverage. You'd say sugar-free Red Bull.
But Grey Goose and sugar-free
Yeah,
Red Bull.
oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I was
sorry,
gonna
with
say
Grey
like
Goose.
we're talking vodka Red Bull,
Yeah,
right? Like,
but, like,
we're not just gonna go dry on
We
that.
water it down at my house, so it's like half Red Bull, half bubbly, and like switch up the flavors once in a while.
Yeah.
So like it's
classic.
not all sugar-free Red Bull. So you only drink like 5 or 6 Red Bull a night instead of like 12 that way. But
Yeah.
like,
That was definitely my university go-to when it was like, how do we stay up all night? Red Bull.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wake up, I go to bed drinking Red Bull. So.
You do.
Yeah,
And you
but
sleep
sugar-free, so
fine.
like it's healthy. Like I'm worried
Oh.
about
Yeah.
my health, so I make sure.
Yeah.
No sugar, no calories.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Just-
Red Bull, because why
It
not?
gives you wings. Yeah. Yeah.
It gives you wings.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a sponsorship opportunity.
There you go.
Got
Red
the
Bull.
soundbite in.
Yeah.
So same question, but food this time. What's the thing that
Mm.
you and Ty go for? Or what's the
Sushi.
sushi?
Mm-hmm.
Great choice.
Or pizza. I
Great
mean,
choice.
depending on if it's a Friday night, we're going for pizza. And if it's a Saturday night, we're going for sushi. And not going, I mean like bringing it in. But yeah, one of those two.
Your kiddos get into sushi?
They love
Yeah, see, I can't get my girls into it.
sushi. The younger, like Ridley, 6, he loves sushi, but he eats like rice and edamame and like miso soup. Like that's his idea of eating
It's still
sushi.
pretty good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, he still has a bit of an appetite or a taste bud for it. But
Yeah, that's a tricky thing too, eh? Have you guys ever found anything that like gets kids to eat? Like if they're eating sushi, what's the trick? Like how did you get them to start trying different foods when they were young?
Everett's always been a trier, and I think he turned 6 years old and would just like eat anything. And I think it was just so we started with just that, like the rice. The edamame is a good one because it kind of is like a different texture, but it's fun to eat because it's like those little like pods.
Mhm.
The miso soup is good because it gets them used to like the tofu and the seaweed, right? And that's like a texture thing as well.
And also salty. I find my kiddos go for the
So,
salty.
yeah.
Same with edamame, right? Because that's usually pretty heavily
It's
seasoned.
got some, it's
Yeah.
got some good salt on it for sure. And then the sushi part, I don't really know. Like,
Are you guys like real sushi people or like
oh yeah,
the California roll?
no,
sushi?
like we'll go like
Yeah.
sashimi.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no rice.
Yeah.
And so now like our older 2 will as well. Whereas the younger one, he won't even really eat like a sushi roll. But I think that's how we got them started was like California roll because there's not actually any raw fish in that. So that's what we tell them. Like there's no fish in it. Just like try it. And then like soy sauce. That's a big one. And sometimes we'll do like we haven't done it in a really long time, but when the kids were younger, we would do like a hot test. So like we started with Frank's Red and like just like put a little dab and like put it on their tongue and see if they can like sustain it. And it was just so funny to watch. Like we have videos of them
Fake
just being
panic
like,
attacks.
and so you can do that with wasabi.
Oh, that hits hard.
Right? And like wasabi and soy sauce.
Yeah.
And then create some good laughs for sure. It's a good video for later on.
That's so fun.
Yeah. Dijon mustard. Lots of nice spicy options.
Yeah, that's like the in the nose spicy. My kiddos would lose it.
They would, not be okay.
That would not be okay. So tell me, just because I'm so grateful for you to come on,
Yeah.
be our first.
Thanks for
So
having
so
me.
nice.
I know.
But I want to just give you just a minute to talk about your business, and
Mm.
specifically knowing that there's going to be hopefully a bunch of great Burlington people. I want to say dads, but people,
Business owners and
business owners,
people
all those
and
kind of
yeah.
things. Tell them a little bit about how they get in touch. Tell them a little bit about what you guys do, and just plug you and Christina.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah. So we are the Morgan Wasley Group, like I said earlier, with Remax Escarpment in Burlington. We primarily, I would say, focus our efforts in South Burlington. So we're like Roseland, Shoikers, Elizabeth Gardens. That's also where we live. Our kids go to school there. Uh, and so we've got a really nice kind of like community based network in that spot. And we just really love working with people who, one, like want to work with us and who are fun. And as you know, our main focus within our business is how do we nurture the people that have worked with us and refer back to us. And so we do that by way of just doing like really fun client events. So family day, we rent out like a skating rink arena. Like, so we do the arena in Burlington, and we invite as many people as we can, and everyone can come and skate for free. And then April, we do more of a family, again, focused event. One year we did a movie theater. The other year we did game time social, like arcade stuff. So that was really fun. Mother's Day, we always do something to nurture the moms and dads as well. We always give back. We try to do a summertime thing. And then in the fall, we do what we call a family photo event. So we invite all of our clients to come and take as many photos as they can in like a 10-minute section with a photographer. And they get all the photos at the end and can use those photos however they want. But that's definitely a favorite event for the clients. So yeah, we're very heavily focused on taking care of our clients and our database, but yeah, we're the number 3 team in Burlington South, and then that's like from our board stats. That's just not within our brokerage, but yeah, just growing the business where we work and where we live and where we want to be.
I have, so you and I have done. I looked before this started. We've done double-digit transactions together, you and I.
We have.
So
I know.
it's been awesome. And the story I want to tell to anybody who's thinking about buying a home or looking for somebody to work with. So my wife and I had very ambitious goals of getting into our forever house pretty early on, and we didn't. Financially, we just weren't there yet. We kind of knew where we wanted to be, much like you'd say Ty is a Burlington guy through and through. I'm a Burlington guy through and through, and I kind of knew where I wanted to be. So story goes, we were stretching every penny we had. Rachel was trying to work with us. We looked at, I don't even know how many houses. We're starting to get bummed out, starting to think it wouldn't happen. Rachel took it on her own initiative to ask some great qualifying questions. What streets would you consider? What's the must-haves in the houses? All those kind of things. And then Rachel went door knocking. She went door to door on every street we gave her until she found our forever house.
Old school.
I did.
So if anybody's listening to this, you want to talk about hustle, you want to talk about earning it. And I'll never forget it. I mean, this was however many years ago, and I still tell the story because that's just that's the kind of person Rachel is. And for anybody listening to this, that's a business owner. Those kind of things go a long way. And when Rachel talks about the all the great things she does for thanking her customers and showing appreciation through events and through everything like that, just you could learn a lot from Rachel. So anybody who's running any kind of business.
Well, thank you for that little plug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And do you and Christina, I don't know where you're at with your development, but we have a lot of people that are young and they're looking for mentors and opportunities and those kind of things. Do you have any advice for them or anything that might be available in your world?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, starting any kind of business or just have patience, like don't give up, have like really, really clear goals as well. And even though if you don't meet those goals, maybe that first year, set the bar a little bit higher for the next year, just because you're going to push yourself. Right. And I remember I didn't really get to where I wanted to be or where I thought I could get to for like probably the first 5 years. And when you're starting a new business, you're building that database. You have to build that trust. You have to build, you're only going to get that through, dealing with the people, getting customers, getting those transactions. And so, I think it's just having patience and trust in yourself, and it will happen. It will happen.
Anything specific? I go back to your example of when you were at Dad's business and working inside the shop, and any advice you have to young women that are looking to get into business that might be playing in something that feels like it's a bit of a man's world.
I don't know that theory really exists anymore. Like, I think if that is probably how I felt 20 years ago, but had I been in that same boat today, like, I think I probably would have been like, I can do this. Like, women can do exactly what men can do. And just because I'm outnumbered doesn't mean I can't be successful, or even the most successful person in the room. Right. And I think today, now more than ever, we're seeing more and more female leaders, and whether it's like in the political side of stuff or just in the community, which I think is really, really nice.
And CEOs of huge companies now.
Huge companies.
It's crazy. Like, there's probably in the top 100, there's probably more women CEOs than there are males at this point. You know what I mean? So
100,
it's great to hear a female say that, like, it's not really a man's world anymore, that we're comfortable to say that, like, hey, like, everybody has a shot out there.
Gender,
like, don't let anything hold you back.
It doesn't play a part in how successful you can be. And on that note too, like, I've attended, there's so many amazing, like, women inspiring events, like within Burlington or abroad. But going to those and like sourcing those out, and really like, whether you're in the audience and you're just listening to like a panel of very successful women, I always find those to be like, you leave there and you're just very inspired, and you feel good about being a female and being successful.
Something we have to thank her for. Thank you for being a huge sponsor for our toy drive this year.
Oh, I was,
We raised a total of $58,000, and it's only because of great supporters like your company and other companies out there that made a difference this year. For the Salvation Army had 600 families this year that signed up that didn't have toys for Christmas, and when we did our drop off, they said that they were probably going to be like 50-60% short. And with your help, we were able to give them more than they're going to need for this year, which is super.
Oh, I have goosebumps.
Super humbling.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was because of a Wine Wednesday. So remember we were
of course. Your booth, your reserve seating.
Yeah, and Circle Mortgages, which is another great company within Burlington Dads. But we were sitting down, and it came up because Christine and I always wanted to do something around this time from a charity aspect. And in the past, we've done our own kind of fundraising and raised that. And this year we thought, you know what, why don't we give to an organization and just help support and build that up. And thank you for the shout outs. We always obviously appreciate it, but supporting it felt really good. And seeing the success you had on Instagram, that was mind blowing how many toys that you got from all those donations. So yeah, it was an honor to be a part of it. And we'll keep supporting as much as we can.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all the stuff you don't see on ChatGPT, by the way. I could go on for days about the stuff I've seen you do, and it's just, that's what makes Burlington so awesome, right? Even go back to the early days. I remember we were trying to raise money at Nelson Youth Centers at the time, and Rachel stepped up with a completely free listing, sale, commission-free photos, the whole thing, put a whole package together, and we were able to auction that off, and we raised a ton of money on that. And there was another one that her and I came together on as well, too.
Yeah. And I think I did for Father's Day, I donated, so every year for Mother's Day and Father's Day, and separately, we choose whether it's like a women focused organization and charity, and then a dad or male focused organization and charity. And we always donate. We try to keep it local, but we donate on behalf of all the amazing dads and moms that are within our database. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
It's good.
What else, man? Want to say anything else? I went ahead and made some notes today, and I'm proud to say that I got through my notes. Everything,
you did
everything
it.
I wanted to do.
I think you
guys, we all did.
It.
It's too bad we can't cheers with Prosecco. That would have been.
On the next one, we'll get Ty here too, and on the next one, it'll be.
I'll do the 100th episode.
100.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I love it.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
congratulations, you guys. This is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a lot of guys behind this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. So I just want to recap.
Yeah.
Men's mental health. That's a priority. Anybody listening, get help, reach out. You can even send us an email right now. We've got info@burlingtondads.com. Somebody's always around to listen. And we've got some great resources, so please don't be shy. Second is physical health. I'm guilty of it, and I'm going to fix that. So make sure that we're going and getting proper screening, proper testing. And that happens young, right? You said as early as 25, 30?
35. Yeah.
35,
So
thank you.
I think, I mean, the health system, and because it was a part of my health history, I was able to do it at 35. I think, depending on your doctor and if they can push it through. But certainly by 40, Chris Carter, you should be running there. So,
Okay, so I'm going to run there.
Are you 40, Chris Carter?
4-0.
Jesus, eh?
It happened.
I can't believe that.
It happened. I got the gray hair to prove it now too. It comes out of nowhere. And I'll also say too that just when it comes to any dads listening to this, really understand when Rachel's talking about those little moments with her dad, with Ty and their kids. Those little moments matter. So if you think you're not doing a good job, sometimes it's just about keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Do the dance party, listen to the music, show the love,
Read a book.
whatever you got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And-
they're
and
going
put
to
in the
remember
time,
it for
'cause they're gonna
sure.
remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it.
It's been a good one.
It's been a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rachel.
Thank you.
Okay.
Signing off.
Signing off.